All right, you have seen me do marriage diary, thoughts and experiences on here, and I thought today I'd bring you a clinical therapist thought that I've been having for a few weeks. If you don't know me, I'm Rachel Elder. I'm a couples therapist in Washington State, and we work with couples in our practice. So I work with couples on a spectrum of things, but sometimes I work with couples who are coming for discernment work, which is for couples who are on the brink of divorce or what we call mixed agenda. There's one partner that's leaning in, one partner's leaning out. They're not really sure if they want to do couples therapy, and discernment is to help them figure out what path they want to take. Do they want to commit to the path of working on their relationship together and being committed to the work? Do they want to divorce or separate or end the relationship? Or do they just want to keep things going how it is because they're still so unsure and ambivalent about what to do? So in this work that I do with discernment counseling, I'm holding the story that separation is the first step towards divorce. And I'm sure for some people that is the truth and that is what happens. But I keep having this thought in my mind that's saying, is there such a thing as healthy separation? My instinct says yes, but I keep circling and asking my therapist colleagues, looking at this idea of, is this possible? Is it possible to step into a healthy separation, to work on yourself and what's needed, and to maybe process, slow down the dynamics that are happening in the relationship that will ultimately bring you back together? So I've been slowly reading through this book called, I'm blanking off the top of my head right now. What's it called? I have it here. Oh, Conscious Uncoupling. 5 Steps to Living Happily let me try again. Conscious Uncoupling. 5 Steps to Living Happily Even After by Katherine Woodward Thomas. And I'm not through her book yet, but the main premise of the book is this idea that divorce doesn't have to be so negative, so painful. And she is kind of setting up this framework of how you can actually divorce in a healthy way, with healing, with repair. And she talks in some of the experiences that she's done this with, where a couple has started to go down the path of divorce, but because they did the healing work, the reparative work that's going to be needed no matter what, they actually come back together. So it really became a separation versus a divorce. And so I just thought I'd bring you my thoughts on this today. I think for a healthy separation to happen, there's got to be what we call containment. This is a therapy word we use a lot, but a containment space. That there's boundaries, there's clear roles, expectations, probably even committing to a similar timeline of, how long are we going to give this separation and what is it going to look like? So if it's going to be healthy separation, I think it's that containment piece. And in that, each partner is working on themselves. Now, sometimes people go, why would working on themselves impact the relationship? But it can, and we do this in couples work a lot anyways, is that part of making the relationship work is working on yourself, working on how you respond, how you react, how you understand your emotions, how you slow yourself down, how you emotionally regulate. And I think the same is needed for a healthy separation. And in that each partner is identifying for themselves of, this is what I need to do to work on myself individually to be the partner I want to be. Side tangent. This comes up a lot in the work I do. The couple is focusing on what their partner is doing, or even in my own marriage, I'm focusing on what my husband's doing, and I forget, or I don't slow down enough to think about, what is my role in this? So I had this dynamic with my husband where I just thought he was saying no to me, and really, sometimes he did, but I would start a conversation like he had already said no. And then I'd be so thrown off when he said yes, or I'd be responding pretty defensively, and he'd be like, whoa, woman, what's going on? I'm hearing this for the first time, and it seems like you're already upset with me. And that was my own work to reflect on, I've got to slow myself down. I've got to explore, why do I feel like I need to respond in this way? What's bringing this up for me? And I think the same would come into play for a healthy separation to happen. Each partner recognizing, what is my work to do on myself that helps me become that partner or develop the relationship vision I have for myself. Who do I want to be as a partner? Who do I want to be as a husband, a wife? Who is that, and what can I do to create that person for myself so that I can show up in that way and be the partner I want to be. So, containment space, focusing on your individual work and what you need to develop, what is yours to own. And I think you also would need to set a healthy timeline. And that's going to be very individualistic for each couple, but my brain instantly goes to 3 months to 6 months to even a year, but that there's an intentional beginning and end state, and that end state being the reflection, coming back together and exploring, can we step in to the relationship together again? Can we rebuild? Can we reheal? Can we repair? And I think that's what would be needed for healthy separation to happen. And I imagine there are people who have done this and they've done it really well. My experience, though, is most people separate as a reactionary response versus it being a truly thought through and empowered response. It's more of the, I don't know what to do, so I'm moving out. Or this is too much, so I'm moving out. And what I think is really needed for it to be healthy is it to be an intentional, thought through decision. I am separating. I need space to work on myself, to help me understand and process why I'm feeling the way I am, where I'm struggling to be in this relationship or to show up as my authentic self. And so I am going to take some space. I'm going to separate so I can work on myself and explore if that self can be a part of this relationship self too. So I'm curious your thoughts, and if you have books or podcasts that you would recommend for this idea of healthy separation, I welcome it. I need to do a deep dive, but I've just been simmering in this thought for quite a while now, and I just thought I'd bring it here and share this kind of behind the scenes work as therapists. So many of couples' modalities or theories or approaches come from a thought being considered and reflected on, and then eventually researched, studied, observed of, can this happen? Is there a model, a system, a way of working with people to bring healing, to bring repair, to bring more connection, more intimacy, and in my world, relationships staying intact for a lifetime? All right, that's my behind the scenes therapist thought. Maybe someday I'll deep dive into this, but I was never really a researcher in grad school and undergrad. I did an undergrad research project and it was a whole year long, and I really didn't like it. I like the idea creation, but I didn't like researching. So maybe we'll do it someday, maybe not. But leave your thoughts. I'm curious if you think healthy separation can happen and can exist, or is separation just that first step towards a divorce? What's your perspective?